Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode here at Tribal Trades, the daily show coming at you from the great state of Florida. One hell of a cold front. Bet you didn't see that one coming, and I didn't see this cold. We're looking forward to some warmer weather next week, but I do want to welcome you to the channel wherever you are tuning in from around the world. Thanks for watching. Today, we're going to talk about a coin that I really don't see anybody talking about. And it's an important coin for this bull run for Bitcoin and for the crypto markets. We're going to have a look at that in just a moment, of course, as well as a whole bunch of other charts. We're going to look at the Bitcoin chart. We're going to follow the yellow brick road. But before we do all of that, you know what I'm going to say next? Smash that like button. This does help get this channel out to more people and, of course, does help to support the channel, as does all your amazing comments that you leave in the comment section. Thank you so much. You take the time to write it. I do take the time to read it and respond to it. And, of course, those that ask questions in the comment section, I do get back to those as soon as I am able to. However, if you'd like more immediate engagement and interaction, you can find me in the Stocks with Josh Discord. Where is that, you ask? So glad you asked. It's down below in the description of this video. You might need to click the more button. It'll pop out. And you can find me there in the crypto channel with some of the most amazing people on the planet. There are a whole bunch of other channels in there as well. I have my own Crown Traders channel in there where I share education, insights, resources, some of my trade setups, and of course, entertainment, because I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. This is for education and entertainment purposes only. Are you not entertained? And I am going to watch Gladiator 2, I think, today. If you watched the movie, let me know if you liked it. Haven't seen it yet, but I'm going to give it a whirl. Okay, so now we are looking at some of the bearish stuff that's coming out on X at the moment. This guy, Gold Cryptos, he thinks it's over. And can I be honest with you that if anybody is saying the bull run is 100% not over, they're lying to you, because there's no guarantees. I'm going to say that the bull run could be over, but I think the possibility is a 1 or 2 or 3% chance of it being over, okay? So I'm just going to put that there. So I'm just going to be real about it. But I'm also not going to go along with this guy and say that the bull run is 100% over. Again, he's not even really entertaining that there's a chance that it's not yet over. He's just cashed out and he doesn't want to be part of the rest of a bull run. And maybe he's going to end up being right and he's going to be able to brag about this for the rest of his life. And I think that's what some people are wanting to do. That's not my game. I'm here to help educate and, of course, entertain you with some songs every so often. I know some of you love it and some of you have expressed that you'd rather I didn't sing. That's why I keep my singing just to a few seconds every episode. Okay, so what is the coin? It is none other than USDT. I bet you didn't see that one coming. You know, who bought the USDT dip? But this is not the price chart. It's USDT dominance. And what we're seeing is USDT dominance is really low. It's at a cycle low. Why aren't our bags pumping? Why isn't Bitcoin at 120, 130K? And there are some good questions there that we're going to answer in this episode. But of course, we're nowhere near the cycle lows of the last cycle, around March, as we saw down here, was when most altcoins popped out. And then later in November, when the entire Bitcoin top popped out. But you can see here, people were getting out of altcoins here, and a lot of them just finished off. And so we've got a ways to go. That was down at around 2%. That would be a huge amount of money still to come into the market. So there is still money on the sidelines, number one. So number one, there's money on the sidelines. If we saw in the last bull run that the USDT dominance bottomed out in March, April time, then and there was a huge drop from where we are now, from 4% to 2%. There would be an enormous amount of money that would come in the market. There is money sitting there waiting to be deployed. That's number one. Number two, however, is we have in March of 2024, our bags were all pumping pretty hard. I think we agree. And it was down at 4%. Now we're in January of 2024 and it's down at 4%. And our bags aren't pumping. not. Bitcoin went to 109. Solana had a run. And we had a couple of meme coins that came out, two of them from the president and first lady. And nothing else really has pumped. In fact, they did the exact opposite. So number two, that's my concern so far, is even if and when I believe we come down to possibly that 2% margin, I don't think we're going to see our bags pump like we've seen it in previous bull runs. Some coins, yes, and being in the right coins is important. I'm going to talk about that in the altcoin show in a couple of hours. This is mainly focused on Bitcoin. And so even with these drop down to here, we saw that great 109. This probably be where we possibly could find a little bit of a bounce. And if there's a bounce now, it's going to be a little bit concerning. That means alts are absolutely going to get crushed. They are. They will get absolutely crushed. Even if USDT pops up to here, hits one of these moving averages, let's move it onto the daily time frame, and we come up and maybe hit the 100 or the 200 EMA or even the 200 simple. There's the 50-day that it's hitting right now. Now, of course, some of you could say this looks like a bit of a bear flag, and we could break down from here, and we could, and we may, of course. But if we come up to the top of this bear flag, up here around 4.49%, that's going to be sun dump before that happens. And we do have the Japan rate hike decision tonight, which is why I'm sitting on my hands right now, not literally sitting on my hands, and I'm waiting. I'm going to wait. I exited into cash on some positions. I still have plenty in the market, and I do feel, and I'll cover this a little bit more in my altcoin show, I do feel that this market has been a little bit more of a trader's market than an investor's market, which means we've seen a lot more sideways volatility up and down. That's why I share the yellow brick road, because we're seeing those liquidation levels grab to the upside, the downside, the upside, the down. Those people on the hodl bags are waiting and waiting and waiting. And I also think as well that this rate hike decision, you know, I've done a poll on it. Most people think that it's going, if there is a rate hike, there will be a drop, but it won't be as severe as August because it's partially priced in. And some people think that it's completely priced in and it will be a nothing burger and life will just go on as normal, okay? And then some people think we're going to see a dump as heavy as in August. Now, what stopped the August dump was the Bank of Japan coming out and saying that they weren't going to do any further rate hikes, or they didn't have any immediate plans, and now they've kind of flip-flopped on that. So my concern is twofold. One, if it happens, what will the reaction be? How much of it is priced in? I don't think it's completely priced in, by the way. I think there will be a reaction, but I think we're seeing now a bit of a sell-off or a holding, or people aren't buying, or people aren't injecting that cash in there, and people are sitting on that cash. As you can see, that it would be a great big drop from 4% to 2% there. That would mean that USDT is going into the market and out of USD into Bitcoin and other things. And then I would say the other concern would be that people would be, maybe this could be worse than August, because now people are saying, hey, it's not just a one-off. Now they've done another one. When's the next one? And of course, you've got to understand that people had been borrowing the yen for decades at virtually no interest or very little interest. And where do you think that money has gone into? It has gone into the global markets, particularly the US stock market and, of course, crypto, and into other markets. So Japan raising their interest rates now is going to possibly bring a panic for those people who borrowed that money to repay that, because they don't want to pay interest on it, or they don't want to get caught in a situation when it continues to climb. And so we're going to see what shakes out tonight. And look, there could be little to no effect. And if that's the case, I'm going to feel really good that I was a good risk manager and waited and closed trades and didn't open any new trades and waited until after the rate hike decision to see how the market would absorb that. Of course, I'm likely to wait until Friday, until the stock market opens, look at some of the pre-market trading and see what happens there. And of course, see how Bitcoin behaves and crypto behaves. That could give us a bit of an idea Now, that's meant to be around 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. They don't really put a time on it, but that's what everybody's anticipating. So maybe it'll be earlier, maybe it will be later. So just keep an eye on the news for that, because that's something that I'll be very, very interested in, okay? Also, we could see here that maybe a little bit of a double bottom here as well. You could look and say, hey, that's fairly bullish for USDT, and we might see that jump up a little bit as a result. What I'd like to see is a jump of no more than up to this 100, maybe up just a little bit to the 200 EMA on the daily. That would still keep us in this little bit of a bear flag formation. You can see the pole, the flag, and then see that further breakdown. So what I could see possibly happening is a little bit of a sell-off happening now into the rate hike decision, and then maybe there will be a little bit more if they raise the rates. And then obviously still there's some caution there, because our buddy Powell is going to speak. He just loves the microphone, loves having his day, and he just ruined the Christmas rally with some very irresponsible comments in December. But he doesn't get to speak again until March. Well, he doesn't. There's no FOMC meeting, I believe, until March. And so there's going to be a 2 months time. It's probably why February and March are super bullish times in crypto, and probably in stocks as well, is the guy just doesn't get to crush the markets with unnecessary bearish comments, okay? So I do urge some caution there, although I do think the US is looking to keep the interest rates the same and not move them. Of course, if there's some market capitulation and crash from the Japanese rate hike, possibly we might see some rate cuts from the US, and that would be bullish. But I think either way, once these two events are behind us, then we could possibly take off in February and March, okay? But I want to wait until I want to see what happens when this first event happens and what's a result of that before I look at entering in new trades. And I'll update here on the YouTube channel and in the Discord as well, okay? Now let's look at some of the other charts here that we have. Let's look at the Bitcoin chart. Now, I did say yesterday, didn't I? I said, watch 104,000, because if it rejects there and closes below there on the daily, more than likely we come down to at least the 20 EMA on the daily, and possibly even as low as 99,700, or the 50-day moving average, which is sitting at 98,600. And that looks like that is playing out there, okay? Or at least it's moving in that direction. And this is why I keep saying, look, I feel that this has been more of a trader's market more than investor. An investor is somebody who buys and holds. And I think a lot of people, when they first come into crypto, might have come from stocks, and they bring that stocks mentality of buying and then trying to hold, where really most of the money is made in crypto from trading the range, because the market ranges more than it trends. In other words, it goes sideways in channels more than it goes up or down. And one of the reasons for that is our wonderful friends, the market makers. And follow the yellow brick road, We're off to see the wizard, the wonderful Wizard of Oz. And there we go. I wouldn't be surprised if we came back to 103. Would you? I wouldn't be, because show me the money. That's money. You're sitting there and your job is to make money. And you can see you can take $49 million and put it in the bank account, into the profit column, and then you're probably going to get a pretty good commission on that, okay? So I'm just being real. I'm just being real. I don't necessarily make the rules of the game, but I know how to play them. Again, we've got moves to the upside there, 103, 104. We've got a lot of liquidity above. People getting very bearish about the possible Japan rate hike and the FOMC, and a lot of shorts are opening up there to 108. So I would not be surprised after the rate hike decision is in, we might see some more capitulation, a little bit more downside. We're not quite sure what we're going to see yet. And then there's the FOMC meeting as well. We're going to see it bouncing around. We're going to see volatility. okay? And then the 3-day time frame, again, there's a little bit more to the downside. So maybe we come down and get that at 100. This is what I've been saying. So it wouldn't surprise me if we came down, retested 100 at the bottom of the range, and then went all the way back to the top of the range, okay? And so you can play it level to level. There you go, 91 million down at 99,000. And, you know, I hate to be Captain Obvious here, buying the bottom of the range and selling the top of the range there. Now, of course, we've got some bigger levels down there around the 86K level. Look, I originally said I felt Bitcoin was going to go to 85 to 89K. That's exactly what happened. It went to 89K. Do I think it's coming back there? It really would depend on the severity of the Japan rate hike and how that's interpreted, what kind of fear and panic selling that brings, if any, and how much of that is obviously priced in. We're yet to discover that. So you can see now we got liquidations levels down there to 100. We've got liquidation levels back up there to around 110. So I would expect us to come down and tag these lower levels here. Maybe we pop back up and grab, we're at 101, maybe we come back up again to that 103 and grab more liquidity there before coming back down. Maybe even we pop back up to 108. Maybe there's anything, any news thing can change. It can come in and say, oh, now there is a new Bitcoin reserve. Well, what do you think that's going to do to price? It's going to absolutely pop it off like a firecracker, and we're going to melt through 108, probably find some resistance at 113, and maybe even melt all the way up to 120. I mean, it would be crazy. So any of these things can happen. So you've got to be very much for me, I'm if this, then that. If this happens, then that. So we're going to find out tonight what happens with Japan. We're going to find out next week what happens when Powell speaks. Is he going to be dovish? Is he going to be hawkish? Is he going to just completely dump the market with his comments? That is something. And then he's out of the picture. Japan's out of the picture until March. And then I expect some real good upside for February and for March. However, I'm not necessarily seeing the same for the altcoin market. I'm going to share that update in a couple of hours, so don't miss out on that there. So that's what I'm expecting. That's my based off what happened. This is why the Discord is great, because after I put this video out, as the day unfolds, I'm sharing updates constantly in the Discord about what I see, what's next. And of course, in the Discord yesterday, I was talking about, okay, we lost that 104. Now we've come down. And of course, we came down to 101. We almost came down and tagged 100,000. We were 262 dollars away from that $100,000 mark, which is what I said. But I do think a move down to there. And if we move to the weekly time frame, just to get a little bit of a perspective there, you know, I would not want to see us lose 87,000. So I think the 20 EMA on the weekly time frame, that has moved up significantly from where we were just at the beginning of this month, which was down at 83. So that's a level that we'd want to see hold on any dump. If we were to lose it at any point, we would not want to stay below it for very long. Like we see down here, we didn't stay below it for very long there, okay? And of course, the 200 EMA on the daily, very much a little bit lower there. That would be that you know, that has always been a great buying opportunity for Bitcoin down there at 81,000. So that those are the two levels there at 87, and the 100 EMA, 100 simple moving averages up there at around 90. Okay, so that 87 and 90 area. If there is any flush out this week or next week with the two big rate hike decisions coming up from Japan and from the USA, and then if we come down, if we really see a flush out, these areas here, the 200 EMA on the daily at 80 and the simple moving average at 75 there. This is one that we would want to see really hold, and that even if you go back this entire bull run, you can see that even if it goes below, it doesn't stay in a bull market, it doesn't stay below for long, and it doesn't go far away from it either. So that would be a couple of areas that if we did see some capitulation and some huge sell-offs, and I'm not saying that it's going to happen, I just want to be prepared. I always expect the best, but I prepare for the worst. I prepare for any scenario. There's no harm having some cheeky bids down here at 76 and 81 or down at 89 or whatever. If they don't get filled, they don't get filled. No harm, no foul. It's all good. So again, thanks so much for tuning in. That's it for today. And until the next episode, happy trading.